What is going on with Apple's iPhone 14 Pros? Just when Apple is starting to pay out from their first batterygate issue, people are complaining about these new expensive smartphones having really poor battery capacity, and not only that, but really bad real-world battery life as well. In this video, I'm gonna share with you guys some info that we have about what is going on, why we could be having these issues, and what Apple could do to fix this. Just a few months ago, I made a video giving you guys some very helpful tips on how to maximize your battery life on your iPhone so that it would last a long time. And that video has a lot of info, but at that time, I had 99% battery capacity, while Angelica, our main editor, had 100%. But fast forward to 3 months, well now I am at 91, she is at 92, and Aaron from Zolotech is at 90%. Whereas his 13 Pro Max, that one after a year of daily use, was at 98%. What's even crazier is that Sam and John from the Genius Bar podcast recently talked about their battery capacities, and John is now at 88% battery capacity, less than a year since this phone launched. And his 13 Pro last year was at 96% after a year. And the interesting thing is, he's been charging both identically using the MagSafe Duo, which actually only puts out 12 watts of MagSafe charging instead of 15. So that's less heat and less power than normally. Now, Sam, on the other hand, what he is saying is that his battery capacity is really bad as well, and now he is only getting 4 hours of screen on time before he has to charge his phone. So daily, he has to charge his phone before the end of the day, and that sucks for him. And with that, he doesn't even use the always on display. Now, when these phones came out, I was testing out both the 14 Pro and the 14 Pro Max, and after about a month, I decided that I absolutely had to go for the 14 Pro Max, even though I didn't want to. I like the smaller size, it's more comfortable in the hand with the regular 14 Pro, just because of battery life, because that phone would not get me through the day, which was not an issue with the 13 Pros. And Sam's saying the same thing, where next year, if this kind of stuff keeps happening, he will have to go to a large phone, which he hasn't done in the past, just because of battery life. Now, looking through 9to5Mac's article on this, they actually made a list of other creatives and people on social media about what they're getting, and that this is not an isolated incident. And even looking through the comments, there are a lot of people that are complaining about these issues. So there's definitely something wrong. Now, most Android manufacturers don't give a battery health, and that might make sense with a lot of them having crazy fast charging for the phones, much faster than Apple's. And the only reason that we actually even have this on an iPhone is because of Apple's original batterygate. For a long time, people speculated that Apple would slow down older iPhones, and the reasoning was to get you to upgrade to a newer phone. And then it came out where a Reddit user did some testing and found that his phone slowed down significantly with newer iOS software. And this is gonna apply to the 14s here in just a little bit. Once this came out, Apple had to admit that it was slowing down certain phones. They had to give a public apology about this, and their reasoning was the batteries were degrading, and instead of having issues with your phone, they actually slowed the phone down, and that was supposed to help it. But they didn't let anybody know. They just hid this, and then once it came out, they had to settle for $500 million to pay people back. With that, Tim Cook had to put out a statement saying that they are gonna give us an option to turn that throttling down in software. It could give you maybe some other issues, but that was gonna go out. And along with that, they dropped the price of replacing your battery to $29 instead of $80. And now, years later, they are just now in October, a couple months from now, gonna start paying people back for that, and people will get a whopping $65 if you were affected, which is kind of laughable because with phones slowing down, that actually made people want to go out and buy a newer phone because their old one was slow. And that might have been a reason why people used to upgrade their phone every 1 to 2 years instead of now where they're lasting a lot longer. And now in the UK, there is a new lawsuit about this that is equaling $2 billion, much more than that 500 million, because Apple was being a bit shady. So now that we've had the option to see our battery capacity, we can see what is actually going on with our phones. And these 14 Pros, well, the battery is draining and the capacity is getting lowered much quicker than before. And with these new phones, the question starts to come up, why are we seeing such a big drain, like people have noticed in our comments, that you're going from high percentages and then slowly before the launch of a new iPhone, the percentage of your capacity is dropping like mad? Is this an issue with these new iPhones, or is this software that is now showing you that your capacity is much lower really quick, where for half a year or more, you're sitting at about 100%. Now, just like we know about the battery life on these iPhones, where it sits at 100% for a long time and then at 1% for a very long time on iPhones, that's manipulated to give you a more confident feel that when you charge your phone, you're good to go, you're using it, you can go out, and then it starts dropping much faster. So are we getting the same thing with these phones, where for the first half of the year you feel happy, and then when you're getting close to the new launch of the iPhone, your capacity drops, and then you start to consider, should I upgrade because we're having issues with this? Or is it just an issue like I thought and talked about in my review, where we have new technology in these new iPhones that are causing the battery to heat up much more? So we're not gonna know until Apple addresses it, and hopefully they will, but what can we do as far as a solution? Well, one of the things I talked about in my video about increasing your battery capacity is to use a 5-watt slow charger, at least at night. The only downside to that is sometimes you do need to top up quickly. So do you need to own 2 chargers? And what about if you love MagSafe like we do, and you just have that convenience factor of being able to attach your phone instantly, pick it up? It's a really nice, easy solution. So Luke Miani talked about this on Twitter about these issues, and this is something that we actually have covered before in our comparisons to some Android phones, where Apple could give us the ability in software to turn off fast charging or to schedule it. OnePlus has done a great job with this, even with their wireless chargers, where at night, if you're charging, you don't need to have it charge up quickly, so it'll go into lower wattage mode for a longer period of time. And then if you start charging your phone during the day, well, in that case, your phone will charge really quickly in order to get you juiced up because you need it. And if you guys take a look at the One UI, they have a lot of different options here, so you can toggle those. And then another thing I talked about in my video on how to extend your battery life is charging your phone to 80% or 85 or 90, just like you would on a Tesla. If you need a full charge, you can do it if you're going on a trip on your Tesla, but day to day, you can charge it up to 80 and 90%. That's what they recommend. And that makes your battery last way, way longer, because that last little bit actually hurts your battery, especially if your battery stays there. So this is something that I'd love Apple to implement, because we could use one charger, be it MagSafe or be it a wall charger. And then if you don't need fast charging, that is going to help your battery to maintain its capacity. And this would be a very easy fix in software to be able to implement this, and then give us the option also to cap at 80 or 90%, which the battery life, especially on these big ones, are good enough to do that. And that will also be a big help. And Android companies are doing this, and they've been giving people those options. So you guys let me know what you think about it. Let me know your capacity if you have an iPhone 14 Pro or a Pro Max, and if you would like some of these software options, and if you think this is a big enough deal for Apple to put out a statement about. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Go ahead and click that circle above to subscribe. Check out one of those great videos right over there. This has been Max, and I'll see you in the next one.